Governor Obiano promises to attract more investments to the tourism sector. More people benefit from free medical care in Abatete. Hello, good morning and welcome to the news at this time. I am David Obokwasale. We begin from here where Governor Willie Obiano has restated the resolve of his administration towards creating more enabling environment for investors in the state. The governor disclosed this during a one-day enlightenment program organized by the state government through the Ministry of Diaspora Affairs, Indigenous Artworks, Culture and Tourism for Anambra State Association of Hotel Owners at Amobia, Oka South Council area. Correspondent Emmanuel Okonkwo tells us more.
The event, which attracted hotel owners and managers, was targeted at educating them on how best to improve in hotel services to increase their incomes and as well the state's internally generated revenue, IGR. Governor Obiano, represented by his deputy, Dr. Nkemo Keke, said that his government will keep working hard to make the state more investment-friendly. The governor called on the Anambra, especially those in the diaspora, to invest more in the state so as to create more employment opportunities for Anambra youths and help the government generate funds for the development of the state.
We're trying to see how we can create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive in our state. Of course, there are different sectors of businesses. This is the hospitality industry that we're talking about.
Speaking earlier, the State Commissioner for Diaspora Affairs, Indigenous Artwork, Culture and Tourism, Mrs. Sally Mbanefu, emphasized the need for the Anambra to invest more in tourism sector, as according to her, tourism is an income venture and an alternative to the depreciating oil economy. Mrs. Mbanefu noted that Anambra State has a lot of tourist attractions, including the Omunike Cave, Owelezukala Cave and waterfalls, among others, that when developed will attract foreigners into the state, thereby increasing the state's IGR.
We had a stakeholders forum, and at that forum, our main concern was to ask you what your problems were. What are the issues that you had that were stopping you from having a flourishing business?
In a presentation on how to improve on hotel services, the chairman, Vico Nigerian Limited, Mr. Che Kano, encouraged and enlightened the participants on how to render online services to their customers, especially those outside the state and overseas.
We have diagnosed the challenges that the hoteliers, the transporters are having in Anambra State, solution for the guests to come here and also for people to partner with the hoteliers so that they can do business together.
In a remark, the President, Anambra State Association of Hotel Owners, Mr. Godwin Okonkwo, described the idea as a welcomed development and a new dawn for hoteliers in the state, assuring partnership with the state government on the scheme. From Amobia, in Oka South local government area, I am Emmanuel Okonkwo, reporting for ABS News.
We move on from there. The import of applying acceptable global ideas for overall development of the local economy was the cardinal discussion at the 5th International Conference of the Faculty of Social Sciences, Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu University, Ibariam campus. The international conference drew speakers from both local, foreign academia and the government who gave diverse viewpoints on the discourse and how it could be applied efficiently to Nigerian and African development. Correspondent Daniel Ezigwe was at the conference and completes the report.
The theme of this year's conference, Globalizing the African Society for Sustainable Development, looked at how to provide a strong background for solution to many of Nigeria's and Africa's social challenges through the incorporation of standard global principles that add solidity to the already existing local values. In a lead paper presentation, a communication scholar at the North Dakota State University, USA, Professor Charles Okibo, who looked at the topic, Sustainable Development of Africa, How Can Globalization Help Us?, noted that Nigeria and indeed Africa have come halfway into the process of global development and called for the sustenance of the development models in both areas for greater output. Professor Okibo, who pointed out that though the African continent is bedeviled by many problems, including crises, lack of strategic planning, unreliable statistics, the continent must look at the developed global space to see what it can leverage to its existing potentials.
You need an education. Without education, nobody said the fool and his money, very soon they part ways. You need an education. That's why my nephews are doing very well. They went into business with degrees, and so they can think. You need an education.
A keynote speaker and a professor of mass communication at the University of Northern Iowa, Cedar Falls, USA, Chris Obonda, noted that globalization was an important tool for development whose strategies have been successfully implemented in diverse areas, including education, marketing, management, sports, music, etc., and argued that even the African folklores could be used to promote globalization in African classrooms.
It's not to ask, it's not to say, here is sandwich for me. But rather, the goal is to ask, how can I make the sandwich that you like? This is the goal. Therefore, globalization is a bottom-up process, and this is very important for development.
The Anambra State Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment, Mr. Sidon Adenoba, while adding a voice to the theme, argued that globalization would not be feasible without the understanding and application of both principles of global standardization and local adaptation, stressing that multinational firms who do not recognize the cultural and social tastes of their host communities were bound to fail.
The acquisition of mobile by Exim gave rise to a term called Exim Mobile, and the decision led to a change in corporate culture.
The Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget, Mr. Mark Okoye, was of the view that attracting global investment to the local economy must be driven by technology and innovative roadmaps that make planning and execution smarter and less complex. Earlier, in their separate welcome speeches, the chairman on the occasion, Professor Iman Owums Owuamalam, and the Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Greg Nwakobi, represented by Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, Professor Ellis Idemobi, noted that the theme of the conference will put the university on a global map with its outcome aimed at providing solutions to major setbacks facing the current Nigerian society. The Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences of the university, the organizer of the conference, Professor O.B.C. Nwankwo, was of the opinion that this year's conference was unique, coming off the recent free trade deal by African nations, a strong reference point to the merit of globalization.
The maintenance in the government of Africa in such a way that we profit from ourselves instead of allowing others to take our resources and then send them back to us in a way that will not be beneficial to us.
From the Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu University, Ibarian campus, Daniel Ezigwe, ABS News.
Justice Raphael Onunkwo of the Anambra State High Court has discharged and acquitted two brothers, Chidebere and Monde Ewuziokeke, from Umudoka, Umuhiokija, charged with the murder of their cousin, Okuchukwokeke, for lack of credible evidence. Correspondent Ogashwo Ranu, who was at the court proceedings, filed a report that we now take from her. Ruling on the two-count charge of conspiracy and murder at the Anambra State High Court 2, Ihiala Judicial Division, Justice Onunkwo said that the prosecuting counsel did not prove the allegation of the murder beyond reasonable doubt as demanded by criminal justice, though he admitted that the deceased Okuchukwokeke, according to autopsy results, and the police witness died as a result of head injury inflicted on him by a group of persons. Justice Onunkwo made it clear that Okuchukwu's death was immersed in suspicious circumstances which the prosecuting counsel failed to unravel due to lackluster and shoddy investigations. The judge in his ruling said that the accused are not guilty of the offense, but however stressed that the murderers of Okuchukwu may escape human justice but cannot escape divine justice. It will be recalled that the deceased decomposing body was found in the underground floor of his brother's house in Umuhi Okija on the 14th of May 2018 by Mr. Oliver Okeke, the deceased father, who wanted to bury him immediately but was stopped as he did not report the matter to the police. The deceased uncle, Mr. Ibodimma, took the matter to court, and the deceased relations alleged that the two cousins are responsible for his murder. Reacting to the judgment, the counsel to the accused persons, Chief Oseloko Osigwe, expressed joy over the ruling, pointing out that there was no proper investigation into the murder case to substantiate the case.
The person died. They now went and charged the person to court without anything showing or connecting him with the crime. It was most unfortunate. They spent almost a year and 4 months. But at least they've been vindicated. That's the most important thing. They are now free. They can go home and be with their family.
One of the accused, Monde Ewuzi Okeke, thanked God for the judgment that set him free. Meanwhile, the prosecuting counsel, Mr. Okafor, did not appear at the proceedings, while the efforts of the ABS to interview the father of the deceased proved abortive, as he left immediately after the ruling. Following the directives from the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Mohammed Adamu, ordering the immediate posting and redeployment of commissioners of police in charge of Anambra and River State commands, Anambra State Police Command has welcomed her 28th Police Commissioner, Mr. John Abang. The event, which took place at the police headquarters Zamobia, saw policemen and women file out to welcome the new police chief. Correspondent Chibuzo Bidike completes the story.
The new Commissioner of Police, Abang John, formerly of the Department of Research and Planning, Force Headquarters, Abuja, was received by the senior officers of the command after inspecting the guard mounted in his honor. Addressing journalists, Mr. Abang noted that on assumption of duty within the last 24 hours, he has been fully briefed on the security status of the state and assured that he will sustain and surpass successes recorded by his predecessors. The new sheriff assured that the command under his watch will give zero tolerance to crime. He, however, advised cultists, robbers, and kidnappers to have a rethink and purge themselves or relocate away from the state.
I will want to drive policing through intelligence-led policing. And I can only do that with the full and solid cooperation of members of the public.
On the issue of fake news, which has the capacity to cause widespread disaffection, chaos, violence, or disruption of public peace, Mr. Abang warned the purveyors of such news through whatever means to desist henceforth or face the full wrath of the law whenever they are apprehended. Continuing, the police commissioner noted with dismay challenges of professional misconduct on the part of the officer and men as regards to extortion, unlawful or over-detention, and incivility to members of the public, and urged all personnel of the command to eschew corruption and indiscipline.
Another menace is the issue of fake news, which has the capacity to cause widespread disaffection, chaos, violence, or disruption of the public peace.
The postings, which are strategic routine, are designed to enhance the overall effectiveness and efficiency of policing services in the affected states and departments. In Oka, Chibuzo Bidike, ABS News.
Yes, you're watching the news on ABS TV, coming to you live from Oka. Still to come on the news, more benefit from free medical health care in Abatete. Stay with us. These are more stories after this time out.
ABS, Heartbeats of the East.
The Anambra have been urged to maximize the huge agricultural potentials of the state by investing more in the sector. The State Commissioner for Agriculture, Mr. Anambra, made this call during a visit to some agro-allied industries in the state. Correspondent Valentine Mbadoa was there and now completes the story.
Speaking during the visit, Mr. Onukuba said his aim at establishing a good working relationship between the industries and the state government is to ascertain the level of market available to farmers in the state.
My advocacy now, when fix another the revenue, basic tariff from government. And this is what the company should be paying for their product materials. Now one straight to IGR.
Receiving the commissioner and his team, the chairman, Harbour Bridgehead Industrialist Association, and the chief executive officer of Poco Bros Foods and Chemicals Limited, Chief Paul Okonkwo, commended the new commissioner for his commitment and expressed hope that his visit would be of great benefit to the agri sector.
Anukuba is a practical man. He's an action man. He did the same thing when he became commissioner for land. He's an action man, so I like what he had done. They thought we yield good result. And they will make a lot of regulations, legal regulations in their own expected revenue of the state.
On their part, the chief executive officer of Tiger Foods Onitsha, Mr. Donatus Ebubogu, and that of Graphic Farms Limited, Oka, Dr. Foster Ezenwa Ihejofo, who are into export of agricultural produce in collaboration with the state government, underscored inadequate raw materials as their major challenge. They advised more in Anambra to engage into farming, assuring their readiness to uptake the produce. Other companies visited were the Golden Oil Industries Limited, as well as EA Agro Oil Industries Limited, all in Onitsha. Agro-allied industries are those that depend on agriculture for their raw materials so as to operate successfully in the production of finished goods that are useful to animals and humans.
And now to health. Affluent individuals, groups, and organizations in the society have been charged to always remember the less privileged in their midst. The chairman, Anambra Irish Professionals Association, Sir Paul Ozo, gave the charge at the commencement of their 2019 free medical mission at Abatete in the Idemili North local government area. Correspondent Chidubuzo Koe now completes the story.
The free medical mission held at the premises of the Abatete Library attracted men and women, both young and old. The participants were diagnosed by medical experts, after which they were given drugs for different ailments, walking aids, as well as wheelchairs. According to Sir Paul, who said that this year's mission will cover Abatete, Mpono, and Ichi, explained that the medical mission, which is in its second year, was one of the ideologies of the association to reach out to the downtrodden in their capacity, and urged affluent individuals and organizations to always remember the less privileged in the society.
The members will contribute every year with in line of the governor's philosophy, think home philosophy. That's what we are doing. So every month, out of our wages, we deprive some of our families that privilege for us to touch lives in our states.
Two members of the association, Mr. Ikemefno Biozo and Mrs. Mary Ann Waneko Koye, told the ABS that it gives them joy doing humanitarian jobs. Earlier, the President General Abatete Development Organization, Sir Moses Chuhoka, noted that the community was overwhelmed by the kind gesture of the association and prayed God to replenish them abundantly.
The entire town is excited. The entire town is marveled. The ADO is humbled, and we urge other organizations worldwide and anywhere Anambra people are, let them set up this type of legacy.
One of the beneficiaries, Chief Tony Obiade, prayed God to bless members of the association for them to continue their good work. From Abatete in Idemili North local government area, this is Chibuzo Koye for ABS News.
The Archbishop Ecclesiastical Province of the Niger and Anglican Bishop of Nnewi Diocese, the Most Reverend Godwin Obala, has performed his last ordination service as the Bishop of the Diocese, during which 25 ordinands were made deacons. Bishop Obala has been presiding over the affairs of the diocese since its inauguration on 14th February 1996 and will retire in September this year on attaining the age of 70. The ordination service took place at St. Matthew's Anglican Church, Egbemo Zobolo, in Ekwusigo local government area. The report is here. 3 other priests were collected and installed as archdeacons, while 14 others were installed as canons of the Cathedral Church of St. Mary, Uruagu, Nnewi. In the order of the church, ordinations are spectacular in the calendar, especially as it marks the admittance of the faithful into the apostolic order. For those 25 new deacons who may be considered as the last episcopal sons of Archbishop Opala, it is a dream come true. Collected and installed as archdeacons are Venerables Fortunate Uchendo, Nelson Emono, and Chede Obi. In a sermon, the ordination retreatant and principal, Bishop Uzodike Memorial Seminary Nnewi, Venerable Chede Obi, underscored the import of faithfulness to the Word of God and to the service of the Church for those who were newly ordained, and called on them to see every achievement as God's grace.
As you step out today, please put down every fear. Some are afraid, fear of mistakes. For those of us coming into the Holy Order, please fear not.
Later, Archbishop Opala urged the newly ordained to be humble in discharging their duties and pay attention to the specific needs of the members of their church. In an interview with the ABS, the member representing Ekwusigo, Nnewi North and South constituency in the House of Representatives, Mr. Chris Azubogo, asked the faithful in the diocese to pray fervently for God to direct the appointment of a new bishop of the diocese while strengthening their support for good governance in the state.
Our prayer is that this diocese will grow from strength to strength. What we need to do that was not today is to pray for God to bring up a shepherd that will guide the diocese.
Oath of allegiance and canonical obedience on the new deacons, installation and collation of the new canons and archdeacons were highlights of the service.
In the faith which is revealed in the Holy Scripture and set forth in the Catholic Creed, and to build the historic formalities of Nigeria there.
From Ozobolo, Ekwusigo local government area, I am David Opokwasile reporting for ABS News. Remember that you can follow news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by liking our Facebook page at ABS Radio Television. Subscribe to our YouTube at youtube.com/ABS Radio TV Online. You can follow us on Twitter at ABS Radio TV and on Instagram at ABS Radio TV. You can also log on to our website at www.absradiotv.com. Here are the main points again before we go. Governor Obiano has promised to attract more investment to the tourism sector. We also told you that more people have benefited from free medical care in Abatete. And that is the news this morning. I am David Opokwasile. Stay with us for more programs.